Canelo Alvarez.
Hey Ringsiders, welcome back to Ringside Stories, breaking down the biggest moments and the real stories behind the ropes. Today we're talking about a legend, Saul Canelo Alvarez. Yes, he's a two-time undisputed world champion at 168, but after his latest fight, it's clear Canelo at 35 is past his best. Let's talk about why.
For William Scull to get in there, just dance and jab and move and keep out of the way and put everybody to sleep, I'd be embarrassed. It's not good for boxing. It's not a good look.
So Canelo's most recent outing was supposed to be a celebration. I mean, after all, he is the first and only undisputed super middleweight world champion ever to do it twice, even if it was against William Scull, who looked more than a marathon runner than a boxer who came to take Canelo's crown. And so what we got was a classic for all the wrong reasons. Both men were uninspiring, especially for an undisputed world championship. The fact both got paid more than handsomely for this display was a robbery for fight fans all around the world. Scull, undefeated yet untested, came to survive, barely threw punches, barely took risks, and seemed content to go the distance and collect his payday.
Payday, payday, you want payday, I know that.
Kudos to him because he succeeded. But for a fight with all four world titles on the line and boxing legacy, Canelo versus Scull was a disgrace.
Sí, me sentí totalmente.
Honestly, especially after the fifth round, I felt like I was in control of the fight and I was ahead. We were executing our plan and there's no need to take any chances, any risk. We just kept going all the way to the end.
Sí, pero
This is the Cuban style of boxing and we did execute quite a bit, throw more punches than him. Honestly, felt like we did plenty.
No, sinceramente nunca sentí.
No, I honestly didn't feel any significant punches. We just kept executing our strategy, our plan for this fight. We didn't need to change anything because I didn't feel like it was hurting me at all.
Yo estaba muy incómodo ahí haciendo mi trabajo.
Skull's goal was to survive only, and Canelo, instead of pressing for a statement win, maybe even by knockout, seemed content to just coast to a unanimous decision points victory. For a fighter of Canelo's legacy, this is not what boxing fans want to see. Now, Canelo, for his part, has always been a low-volume puncher, but this time he didn't even try to entertain. There was no urgency, no killer instinct, no attempt to put on a show for the fans at his debut in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The whole thing felt more like a glorified sparring session than a world title fight, and all the scorecards all over the place. How any judge could give Scull 5 rounds is beyond anyone, but the real story was the lack of action.
Oh, I feel great. I win, I come to put a great show, but to put a great show you need both fighters. So, but at the end of the day, win is a win. I say to him, you just come to, you can not win a fight like that, fighting like that. And he say, I'm sorry, it's my first time and I just try to put a good fight and I'm so sorry. That's fine. That's a mediocre mind. That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put great show,
Now let's be honest, Ringsiders, Canelo isn't trying to fight the best at 168 anymore. The two names fans have been calling for years, David Benavidez and David Morrell, were both undefeated, both interim titleists, and Benavidez, who at one point even held the WBC title at 168 twice, was Canelo's mandatory at one point, but those fights against Benavidez and Morrell just never happened. Both men moved up the light heavyweight and fought each other instead.
Canelo, come on. You're getting paid all this money to fight against a runner who we all knew was gonna run, a Cuban style. You chose him, and now you say you hate fighting runners? Well then, don't fight runners. We all know who we want to see you win against. Fight Benavidez, he won't run. What's wrong with that? It's a good fight, but it's sad. It really is. When you're fighting for the money and not legacy, every young fighter just follows that pattern. And it's not fair. It's not fair to the organizers, the people putting up the money, the promoters, the fans especially. The fans want to see good fights. Let's go.
Now, Canelo's team has looked somewhere else in the meantime. Maybe it's risk management, maybe it's business, but the fact is the real threats at 168 don't seem to be there at the moment. The division is full of up-and-comers who are unproven or guys Canelo has already beaten, such as former world champion Caleb Plant, Edgar Berlanga, and Jaime Munguia. Then there are names like Chris Eubank Jr., who has been entertaining even as recent as last month, but let's be real, he just isn't the elite level. Canelo's resume is stacked, but right now the matchmaking from Canelo's team feels safe. The hunger to prove himself against the best, well, that just isn't there anymore.
And now we want to do the face-off for the fight of the century. The fight is September between the two great fighters in our generation, Canelo Alvarez and Crawford. It will be in the stadium in Las Vegas in the 12th of September.
Is the official face-off. The date, September 12, Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, for the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Bud Crawford.
That's the excitement about it, you know. When I look at it, like, I always had this mind frame of the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Okay.
I've been beating up big dudes all my life.
Because they underestimate your bud.
It's just, even if they didn't, I'm gonna beat you up. You know, I can fight.
Right.
You know, so if you watch, like, all these dudes bigger than me.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't care, but I'm gonna find a way to win, no matter what.
Now the next chapter, Canelo versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Make no mistake, this is a super fight. Two future first ballot Hall of Famers, two of the best of their generation. And Crawford, he earned a shot. He was a world champ at 135, cleaned out both 140 and 147, but this is a different proposition. Crawford's last fight was his first at 154 against then undefeated WBA champ Israel Madrimov. And honestly, Terrence Crawford didn't look convincing. Now he's jumping up 2 weight classes to face Canelo at super middleweight, which is a huge leap.
That's no excuse in anything.
You knew what was coming if you won this fight. That was a crack at this man. Two-time undisputed champion, Bud Crawford. How are you feeling about that fight?
No, I feel great. You know, Crawford is one of the best out there, and you know, I like to share the ring with that kind of fighters, and it's my pleasure.
You changed your tune on wanting this fight over the years. Originally, you didn't want it. Why is now the right time for this fight?
You know, everybody is asking for the fight. My Nino, Turki Al-Ashi wanted, so that's why we are here.
You waited a long time for this fight to happen. You came a long way to stare off with Canelo Alvarez. How are you feeling now that the fight's here?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed. And, you know, everything's happened for a reason. And there's a reason why I'm here. In September, I'm going to show the world what greatness look like.
Had a chance to scout Canelo over 12 rounds. What did you think of that performance?
Well, he did what he had to do to get the job done for what was in front of him.
Canelo's now 10-0 at super middleweight, been largely untouchable at this weight class. Why do you believe that you're the man to knock him off?
Because I'm the best. That's why. That's why everybody gonna come and watch September 12th.
When Crawford steps into the ring on September 12, 2025 at the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada, he'll have been out of action for 13 months, but will be near 38 years of age when he steps into the ring against Canelo, and we all know Father Time is undefeated still. Yes, Crawford has the style, the skills, and the ring IQ to trouble this faded version of Canelo, but Canelo still has major advantages: size, strength, and experience at the weight at the top level. So what's the real story, ringsiders? Canelo Alvarez is still a legend, still a champion, undisputed world champion for the second time, but that fire that made him who he has been in years passing is greatly fading. The Cuban Scull fight proved it. The matchmaking in years gone by has proved it. And while the Crawford fight is a blockbuster, it also is a sign that Canelo's days of taking on the biggest threats and all comers at his own weight are over. Will Crawford pull off the impossible? Or will Canelo's size and experience be too much? One thing is for sure, the end of an era is coming. We'll be ringside to tell the story. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Is Canelo done at the elite or top level? Can Terence Crawford make history? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell for more ringside stories. Until next time, ringsiders, keep your guard up and have a legendary day.